Hey, what's up, guys? Let's do a quick sound check here on YouTube and in the free room, and we shall jump in. Hey, Lee, Lorna, Mirza. Good morning, Christina and Jim. All right, looks like we are good on audio. And there in the so welcome to February. Hope the month of January was a profitable one for you. Hopefully you learned some lessons, and got a couple of things here that I think might make February even better than January. We'll cover those next time. But of course, today, guys, is the big day, the big Fed day. So I don't really have too much of a high hope here for much action before the Fed announcement. So we'll kind of focus on what I'm looking for afterwards. Here's the thing: if anything can put a knife in all the progress the bulls have made here over the last handful of weeks or so, it's going to be JP and the boys, JP and the Fed. So let's just assume, for now, that we live in a world where Powell doesn't kill the market today, and instead we actually see all the pretty colors here on the side. I'll give you guys a couple of setups for that scenario. In the event we break, then it's a different story. But I do think we trade higher. So here's what I'm seeing. We'll take it from the top down. And again, the whole question here today is, does this all change? But on the S&Ps, weekly chart goes neutral 4 weeks ago. So you get a divergence in the favor of the bulls. You've got a squeeze, you got a rising histogram, and then as of last week, for the first time since that downtrend starts, you actually crank out a week close above the 50. So it's a change of context. All your previous rallies last year were done under the context of a weekly chart printing a sell signal. The progress the bulls have made this time around is they killed that sell signal and they tried to rebuild a little bit of structure. So I would say for the first time since the downtrend started, the weekly chart is pretty aligned here for further upside. Right, then we take it down a notch to the daily chart. And now your daily chart has buy signals for the first time since that downtrend started. So that's another change of context. All the rallies that we saw last year were done on a weekly chart with sell signals in a daily chart that never goes bullish. So this rally, that little bit of a rally, that bigger rally, that rally, none of them took the indicator bullish. Now it's bullish. And your lower time frames, they're all pretty structured here. I'll pull up the big 3 heat map. Daily bullish, 4-hour bullish, 15-minute, 5-minute. So for the first time in a long time, structure of the weekly chart, structure of the daily chart actually points towards the bulls having a lot to work with here. The question is, does it all come to an end here today? But for now, the signals say we go higher. So in the event that doesn't change today, I've got a couple of names for you guys here. So first up to bat is, we'll do First Solar first. All right, so FSLR here. And we'll kind of breeze through these guys. We've got buy signals on the day chart. Always a bonus. But what we're looking for here is going to be a push like that. And if you study a push like that, what you come to learn is all your lower time frames, 1-hour chart, 30-minute, 15-minute, they should be locked and loaded with buy signals before and during that bigger push. So the key here is to find that entry near your 21 EMA from a daily chart, but the trigger should be on lower time frames. So for those of you in the mastery and the options room, the market holds up here after the Fed. We're probably going to take a trade here. Weekly bullish, daily bullish, 4-hour bullish, your 1-hour through your 15s bullish. It's almost got the full bull stack. So what that tells me is now from the ground up, trend, structure, momentum, all working in the favor of the bulls. So now you're on top of that launching pad, but under the surface, you got all that ammunition. So I think that is a beauty. And if you can get this above 185, probably got a pretty good run on your hands. So FSLR. Next up is OIH. I got this one from my pal Sam. Pretty straightforward. Your daily chart is bullish. You're right near that daily 21, and your lower time frames all bullish. Right, almost a full bull stack. Weekly down to the 1 minute. So all that ammunition under the surface, that's what can potentially trigger that bigger move off of your daily 21. So OIH is looking, I think, really good for a push towards 340-ish. All right, so FSLR, OIH. Another one here is going to be Zoom. So you'll notice Zoom is in this lean on the larger time frames as a name like a First Solar or an OIH. So pull up the weekly chart here real quick. So what I'm looking for here this week, and we could actually look to play the move into the weekly 21, but bigger picture, if Zoom can finally get a close above that weekly 21 EMA, then I think that opens up a door for a push towards your daily 200, all the way up here around 88 to 90 bucks. But your weekly chart's neutral. Your daily chart is neutral. So the trigger here, and again, ideally, try this up as close to that daily 21 as possible. But the trigger here is going to be your lower time frames. So post-Fed today, kind of hanging out in that $75, $73 neighborhood. And the 1 hour chart is bullish, the 30-minute to 15. That sets up the entry. If you can get through resistance at that weekly 21, then I think you got a runner on your hands. So FSLR, little bit of Zoom, little bit of OIH. One that we did have a position in, and we took it off, I believe, on Monday. So Boeing, looking pretty good here on the daily chart. So what happened on? It's kind of been a weird week. We had the flush. Then you had the big pump yesterday. So we got long Boeing last week. Pretty much going to look exactly like this. So bullish on the daily, on top of the daily 21, and then you get all your lower time frame buy signals. The reason we took the trade off on Monday was we lost all the lower time frame buy signals and we got a bunch of sell signals. So my thinking there is, okay, it's no longer that moment in time where the bulls are locked and loaded from the ground up. And what I don't want to do is hold my calls or hold my put credit spread as my 1 hour, 30-minute, 15-minute goes bearish. Yeah, maybe we hold the daily 21. Maybe it falls apart. Right? The one thing I do know, before and during these kinds of big explosive pushes, you're going to have lower time frame buy signals. So the thinking is, keep the losses, as small as possible based on your lower time frame signals. And then if it shapes up again, which Boeing, certainly shapes up again, then you look, I think, to take the long. So that all looks pretty solid. And one more for you guys here is going to be Broadcom. We were also long Broadcom, and we got out here at break even. So no blood shed. But another name I might want to jump right back into. Bullish daily squeeze. And we'll check the heat map here. All right, not ready yet. 1 hour chart bearish, 30-minute chart bearish. Everything else a little bit neutral. So if later today, 15 goes bullish, 30-minute goes bullish, hourly goes bullish, that all kind of sets up the next entry. So we are waiting on that one. And then we'll do one more here. I actually got this one from the options room yesterday. Roku. Kind of similar to the Zoom idea. So let's see. Roku hasn't closed above the weekly 21 since August of 2021. Quite a while. So what I would look for here, combination of a few things. If we can get the first weekly close back above that weekly 21, and Then if the lower time frames are bullish, which it all looks pretty bullish right now, then I think on your daily chart, that opens up a potential push towards $70. All right, so one trade we've been seeing a lot of lately, calling the beaten down names, the Shopifys, the Zoom, Workdays. A lot of these names that kind of got pummeled last year, slowly but surely they're rebuilding, and they're kind of using up all this oversold juice. Roku is still in a downtrend, even if it rallies another $15 here. So I think there's room for upside. So Zoom and Roku, if they can close back above their weekly 21, then I think you target a push towards that daily 200. Right, so those ideas are a little bit different than something really clean like a First Solar. But while they're different, the trigger is going to be the same. Checking your lower time frame is making sure structure is all lined up for that push higher. So there's a few for you guys, right? FSLR, OIH, Zoom, Roku, Broadcom, and the Big Boeing. And AMD had earnings last night. Let's see, AMD. Yeah, look, gap up a couple of bucks here. But if you guys got a couple of chart requests here, throw them at me in the chat. Let's take a look at futures. This is the futures. A little bit of pre-Fed back and forth. Futures doing the pre-Fed shuffle. All right, Anish wants to look at Tesla. It's starting to shape up here. So, a couple of things with Tesla. Be really mindful of your resistance here around 183. This is kind of where the rubber meets the road now. They get the big flush. That flush takes you, a couple of miles away from that weekly 21. So this whole move from, about $100 up here to 180, which is, it's a huge rally, but in the context of the weekly chart, all you've done is rally back to falling resistance. So this is where the rubber meets the road. If you can get through that weekly 21, then you're potentially working on a bigger reversal. So be mindful of that 183-ish level. But your lower time frames kind of look poised to take it through 183. You might have to dip first, but your daily chart goes from bearish to neutral. And then the quality of the lower time frames here has been really solid. Look at the daily chart. Really clean uptrend. So 183 is your big level. Maybe it dips first, but I think bigger picture, you get through 183. And a lot of these ideas are the same, right? Beaten down names, slowly rebuilding structure, and if they can get through bigger resistance, opens up a lot of upside. Zoom, Roku, Tesla included. So again, maybe we dip first, but eventually, if you get through 183, then I think you're kind of looking towards that 220-ish, 230. Back to the old 200 SMA. Marsa's got some John Deere. Let's do this. Whoops. Let's do this. Weekly chart, daily chart, hourly chart. So kind of divergence. Weekly chart is bullish. Daily chart is bearish. For a directional trade, usually my preference is something like an FSLR. Like everyone's kind of on the same page. Weekly bullish, daily bullish, hourly bullish. So I think in an instance like this, it's kind of like, okay, well, who wins the fight here? Does the weekly buy signal have this rallying off of that weekly 21? Or does the daily sell signal have this trading lower? Like the clues, so to say, and the answers, going to be found in your lower time frames. So on top of weekly support, if the 5-minute, the 15, the 30-minute, if all your lower time frames start showing up in a bullish fashion, it kind of points towards a rally. On the other side, with that negative influence of a daily sell signal, if your 5-minute, 15-minute, 30-minute, if your lower time frames go bearish, well, then maybe the daily signal wins the fight. So I'd pull it up on the heat map. We don't have too much clarity right now. Hourly chart's neutral. The 30-minute chart is neutral. 15-minute, 5-minute. So say I'm trying to short it. I want to play that daily sell signal. I at least have to wait for a 15-minute, 30-minute sell signal to kind of confirm that flush lower. If I want to get long, get weekly support, then I need a 15-minute, 30-minute, or an hourly buy signal. Right? Some sort of confirmation here under the surface, especially considering you have that divergence. Weekly bullish, daily bearish. So hopefully that makes sense. All right, guys, a couple more here. Yep, Deadpool. Looks like, yeah, Mears has got you covered. Scott, what's up, Scott? Apple. Well, with earnings tomorrow, it's kind of tough to, who knows what happens tomorrow. That's kind of all I can say about it. It's a tough read. It came up and smooched the daily 200, just about smooched it. Got within smooching distance. Now we're kind of come back a bit. Hourly chart is neutral. Again, one of the themes you guys will see in the things that I like to trade is just the concept of alignment. Doesn't mean the trade always works, but I got a pretty clear sense of what I should do with an OIH. Weekly, daily, 4-hour. Almost every time frame is bullish. If it was the opposite, so maybe we'll look at the inverse of OIH. So if Apple looked like this, got a pretty good sense of what to do with it. If Apple looked like this, got a pretty good sense of what to do with it. But right now, Apple looks like this. The daily chart says no one's really in control. We're not very bullish. We're not very bearish. It's just kind of, In my lower time frames, aren't giving me any clues. I don't need a daily buy signal. I don't need a daily sell signal to get long or short, but I need confirmation from the ground up. Good example would be, okay, go study that previous push. Right, like what's going on in a lower time frame when Apple takes off from 134? Hourly chart's bullish, 30-minute, 15-minute. You get confirmation from the lower time frames. So probably one that we come back to, I guess it would be Friday after they announce earnings tomorrow night. And we'll see how that dust settles. Won't be dull, guys. We got Apple. I think on the same day we got Amazon. Amazon. How about Google? Google is on the second. Let's see, Facebook. Facebook's tonight. So yeah, won't be dull. Won't be dull. Yeah, good question. So I think for OIH, and I know Sam's got an entry order working in the options room to try to buy it on a dip. Yeah, a pullback towards your hourly 50, a pullback towards your daily 21. That's the kind of entry that's going to offer you the best risk versus reward. Buy it at 319, take it off at 316, and you're looking for 340. So yeah, good question. Good question. All right, the futures, sloppy. And also going into today, guys, have the game plan ready. If you got a bunch of open positions, and we went to full cash in the mastery, but if you got some open positions, have a game plan today. Last thing you want to do, especially going into a binary event, is be the deer caught in the headlights. So say you're short, right? You're short everything. Have a game plan if it works. If the market pulls back 2%, know where you want to pay yourself. Don't get caught slipping, getting greedy. If you're short and the market rallies, have your line in the sand. Make all those business decisions before the lights turn on and all the action starts. And it makes the Fed days a little bit easier. Or you go to cash and that makes it a lot easier. But be careful today. Be careful. And I'm of the opinion it's more about today as opposed to like earnings tomorrow. I think today's our big day. Maybe famous last words. But all right, guys, I got to cut you loose here. I got to go take the fine people in the options room through the open. So one more time, and I'll put this in the chat here. If JP does not crush the market today, I think First Solar is poised to go higher. I think OIH is poised to go higher. I think Boeing is poised to go higher. Frankly, just the market itself. The couple of fresh buy signals, I think, is poised to go higher. And then you've got some beaten down names like a Zoom, a Roku, even a Tesla. It can get their first closes back above a weekly 21. Should open the door for some further upside. So good luck today, guys. Be patient, be disciplined, and I'll talk to you soon. Adios.